Welcome back to Meghan and Harry Tales. I'm your host, Adrian, and today we're unpacking one of the most explosive weeks in the ongoing saga of the British royal family versus the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Because once again, the British media is fuming, not because Harry or Meghan did anything wrong, but because Harry dared to defend himself. Yes, you heard that right. The press that made millions off smearing Diana and now smearing Meghan is enraged that Harry refuses to be their scapegoat any longer. Now, before we dive deep into this week's bombshell, I want you to understand something crucial. What we're witnessing isn't just tabloid drama. This is a coordinated institutional attack that's been years in the making. And this week, Harry finally called it out by name. So buckle up, because we're about to pull back the curtain on one of the most toxic relationships in modern media, the unholy alliance between Buckingham Palace and the British tabloid press. Let's rewind for a moment. The British media has been mad at Prince Harry for a long time, since at least 2019, when he had the courage to sue them. But let's go back even further, because this story doesn't start in 2019. It starts the moment Harry met Meghan. Remember the early coverage? At first, they loved her. "Harry's found his princess," they cheered. But the moment it became clear that Meghan wasn't going to play by their rules, that she was intelligent, independent, and unwilling to be bullied into submission, the tone shifted. Dramatically. This is the same press that Meghan and Harry called out for racist double standards. And those weren't just accusations, they documented it. Side-by-side headlines about Kate and Meghan doing the exact same thing. Kate would be praised as glowing or elegant, while Meghan would be slammed as demanding or breaking protocol. The same press that loved Harry when he was a bad boy, when he was their profitable scandal machine, turned on him the second he married a brilliant biracial American woman who refused to bow to their bullying. Because here's the thing. Harry was useful to them when he was struggling, when he was making mistakes. The moment he got his life together and found happiness, he became expendable. And it wasn't just the tabloids playing this game. Let me be very clear about something that many people still don't want to acknowledge. Back in 2018, William and Kate made a decision that still reverberates today. They chose to sell out Harry and Meghan to keep their own hands clean. And I know some of you are thinking, Adrian, that's a strong accusation. But stay with me, because the evidence is overwhelming. We've seen it time and time again. Negative briefings against the Sussexes, convenient leaks from Kensington Palace, and a steady drip-drip of sources close to the palace attacking Meghan and Harry's character. These aren't random tabloid stories. These are coordinated hits. Remember the Meghan made Kate cry story? It dominated headlines for weeks. And then, years later, Meghan revealed in her Oprah interview that it was actually the opposite Kate had made her cry. But she'd forgiven her. The palace never corrected the record. They let Meghan be vilified worldwide for something she didn't do. Why? Because negative Meghan stories distracted from other royal scandals. They diverted attention from difficult questions about Andrew. They provided cover for Charles's controversies. Meghan became what they call in PR a useful distraction. And William? William has been presented as the golden heir, the steady one, the future of the monarchy. But behind the scenes, his office has been one of the most active sources of anti-Sussex briefings. Harry himself has hinted at this repeatedly, and now he's saying it explicitly. Which brings us to this week's bombshell. Harry's spokesperson has issued a correction to The Sun's latest cover story, a story so full of holes you could drive a royal carriage through it. The Sun claimed that Harry had some kind of dramatic falling out with his father, that he was being unreasonable, that reconciliation was impossible because of Harry's demands. But here's what The Sun didn't expect: Harry fighting back with facts. His spokesperson dismantled their story piece by piece, pointing out the lies, the distortions, the invented quotes. But more than that, and this is the part that has the palace in full panic mode, Harry's team pointed directly to the source of these lies. That correction has gone off like a bomb. Why? Because for the first time, Harry is directly pointing to the Sun's so-called sources as part of an orchestrated attempt to sabotage his reconciliation efforts with his father. Think about that for a moment. Harry is saying, on the record, that people inside the palace are actively working to prevent him from making peace with Charles. Not because Charles doesn't want reconciliation, but because certain people in both Charles's and William's courts benefit from the ongoing conflict. Yes, you heard that correctly. Harry is calling out the game. He is drawing direct lines between Charles's courtiers and William's office. He's naming the system that turned him into a target and weaponized the media against his wife. And the reaction? Exactly what you'd expect from guilty parties: gaslighting, lies, and hastily rewritten narratives from the same British press that mocked his mother until her death. The palace machine went into overdrive. Suddenly there were stories about how Harry was delusional, how his spokesperson's statement was unhinged, how he's lost touch with reality. They're using every trick in the book to discredit him before his truth gains traction. Let's talk about that for a moment, because this is where things get dark. This is where the mask really slips. Amanda Platel, one of the Daily Mail's loyal royalist attack dogs, actually said the quiet part out loud. In her column this week, she wrote that Harry is paranoid, just like his dead mother. Let that sink in. Read that sentence again. Paranoid, just like his dead mother. This isn't subtle. This isn't journalism. This is a threat wrapped in an insult. And it's the same playbook they used on Diana. Diana was called paranoid when she said people were plotting against her. Diana was called unstable when she spoke about her fears. Diana was mocked for saying her phone was tapped, her movements tracked, her friends targeted. Diana famously said in that Panorama interview, "There were 3 of us in this marriage," referring to Camilla. She spoke about feeling isolated, abandoned, used by the institution, and the press laughed at her. They called her dramatic, attention-seeking, mentally unstable. They said she was making it all up for sympathy. And then Diana died in a car crash she always feared would happen. A crash while being chased by paparazzi. A crash that happened because the media's obsession with her had reached dangerous, fatal levels. The press mocked her for years. Even now, decades later, some still sneer at her memory, calling her delusional. And yet we know Diana was telling the truth. The tapped phone calls later proved it. The palace briefings against her were confirmed by multiple sources. She had every reason to be afraid because people inside the palace and the institution were actively harming her, briefing against her and plotting to destroy her image. Everything Diana said was happening to her has been proven true. Everything. And now they're doing the same thing to Harry. They're using the same words, the same tactics, the same gaslighting strategy. Platel and her colleagues are dusting off the same playbook. Call Harry paranoid, call him unstable, compare him to his mother in the most sinister way possible. The message is clear, and it's chilling. Keep calling out the truth, Harry, and look what happened to your mother. It's not just a comparison. It's a warning. It's a reminder of what happens to royals who dare to tell the truth about the institution. But here's what they didn't count on. Harry is stronger than they are. He learned from his mother's experience. He saw what happened when you fight the institution alone, without support, without a strategy. Harry has Meghan by his side, a woman who understands media manipulation, who has her own experience fighting institutional racism and sexism, who refuses to be broken by their tactics. Together, they've built a life where the British press can't control them. They've moved away physically, yes, but more importantly, they've moved away psychologically. Harry has broken free from the royal trap, the one where your own family's courtiers leak to tabloids to prop up the monarchy's image, where you're forced to smile and pretend everything is fine while being stabbed in the back, where your mental health and your marriage are considered acceptable casualties in the game of royal PR. Let's be clear, this isn't just about tabloids. This is about Charles and William. Charles has spent decades using his sons as shields for his own PR disasters. He did it after Diana's death, putting young William and Harry on display to garner sympathy. He did it during his own scandals, using their popularity to rehabilitate his image. And now he's doing it again, using Harry as a distraction while his own monarchy falters under questions about its relevance, its cost, and its colonial legacy. William is not the golden boy the press paints him to be. He's been playing palace politics for years, and he's learned from the best or the worst, depending on your perspective. The smears against Meghan didn't appear out of nowhere. The bullying stories that were leaked right before the Oprah interview, the Meghan made Kate cry nonsense, the endless leaks about what Meghan is really like, they were coordinated. They came from somewhere, and Harry has finally said it. Enough. The British media can keep trying to rewrite history, but the truth is on the record now. Harry's spokesperson has put the courtiers on notice. The game has been exposed, and people are seeing through the gaslighting. The public isn't blind. Millions around the world see the pattern. A young couple trying to build a healthy life is being hounded by the same forces that hounded Harry's mother to her death. The difference this time? Harry and Meghan are fighting back in court, in interviews and in public statements. They have resources Diana didn't have. They have each other in a way Diana never had support. And they're winning. Let me repeat that. They're winning. Every time Harry corrects the record, the tabloids look more desperate. Their stories become more exaggerated, more hysterical, more obviously false. Every time Meghan stands tall, living her life with grace and dignity, the lies about her melting down or being difficult crumble. The British press is losing control of the narrative they built, and they're panicking. You can see it in the increasingly unhinged headlines. You can see it in the way they're now attacking Harry's mental health, directly something that used to be off limits. You can see it in columns like Platel's, where they're saying the quiet part loud because their usual tactics aren't working anymore. The world is watching. Social media has changed the game. People can fact-check in real time. They can compare headlines. They can see the racism and double standards for themselves. The gatekeepers are losing their grip. And inside the palace, there's reportedly fear. Fear that more will come out. Fear that Harry's legal cases against the tabloids will expose the cosy relationship between the palace and the press. Fear that the truth about the briefings, the leaks, the coordinated campaigns will become undeniable. So, to Amanda Platel and the rest of the tabloid hit squad, your scare tactics won't work. Harry isn't paranoid. Meghan isn't manipulative. They're telling the truth you've tried to bury for decades. And to William and Charles's courtiers, your leaks, your smears, your threats, they're all being exposed. The game is over. We see you now. Because at the end of the day, history remembers the truth tellers, not the smear merchants. Diana was right. She told the truth about the institution and they punished her for it. But history has vindicated her. And Harry and Meghan are right too. And history will vindicate them as well.